Hi guys, and welcome to identifying whether an equation is direct, inverse variation, or neither. And so in this, there's this kind of first background information that I have up here. So what you need to know is, what do these equations look like? So direct variation, it can be in any of these three forms. It's really y equals a times x. Now if you remember letters towards the beginning of the alphabet, so A, B, C, those kinds of letters represent constants. So when you see this as an actual equation, you're going to see a number for A, but x and y are going to stay the same. They're still just going to be x and y. All right, so this is really the equation itself, and then these are just two other ways that you might see the equation written. Okay, so for direct variation, basically it's y equals some number times x. For inverse variation, okay, so that's going to be a different kind. It's y equals some number divided by x. Okay, so direct variation, you've got a number times x, and inverse variation, you have a number divided by x. All right, and you'll see there are other times, so like when the variables are on the same side, it's kind of the opposite what's going on there, but we're not too worried about that for right now. For right now, we just want to make sure that we can recognize each of these forms. All right, and then a quick note, if you see a plus sign or a minus sign, then it's neither direct nor inverse variation. There are some other things, so if you see exponents, then it's neither inverse nor direct variation. It has to look exactly like one of these three with just a number for A. Or there could be, like, for example, you could have like 6xy equals 32, because then you would just divide both sides by 6 and it would get right back here. Okay, but essentially it has to look exactly like one of these. So the first three examples I have here are all examples of direct variation. Okay, so literally taken from right there. So you see we've got y equals 6x, so this would be direct, right? Y divided by x, so if you ever have y divided by x, okay, y divided by x, then it's going to, and you have just a number then that is also direct variation, because if we were to multiply both sides by x here, we would end up with y equals 17x. All right, so that would get us back to the original form of our equation. So that's our direct variation again. And then number 3, same kind of thing here, right? So if we were to solve for y, we'd multiply both sides by y, divide by x, and we'd still end up with direct variation. Okay, all right, so those are the 3 ways we might see direct variation. And then for inverse variation, you can see that I used the same, almost the same examples. It's going to basically be wherever you see multiplication, you replace it with division. Wherever you see division, you replace it with multiplication. So whereas the general form of direct variation is y equals 6 times x, the general form of inverse variation would be y equals 6 divided by x. All right, so this would be inverse. Same thing here. If you've got x and y multiplied by each other on the same side, then you're talking inverse variation. And then finally, the last one, if you have x equals some number times y, then that's also going to be inverse variation. So it's kind of the opposite of what you have here, right? So y equals a number times x would be direct, but x equals a number times y is inverse. All right, and then these 3 are all examples of something that is neither. Okay, so we have 2 possibilities. Equations can be tons of different things. We have 2 possibilities, direct and indirect, and then just everything else that you could conceivably have. So these are all examples of neither direct nor indirect variation, just because they all have some plus signs in here. So you see 3x plus 10, and that immediately says to us, nope, it's not either of these, right? Doesn't matter if you switch where the plus sign is, or even if you put both the variables on the same side. If you've got a plus sign or a minus sign or a subtraction sign, then you end up with something that is neither inverse nor direct. That doesn't, of course, mean, so like over here where you have a negative 12, that's still going to be inverse variation or direct variation, but it's not acting as a subtraction or an addition sign, which is what we can't have. All right?